So we are live now. Maybe Clarence could help us on that, a bit of intro, and then we can start from the channel.
Okay, thank you very much, Fred. We just want to start our session, and I'm Clarissa Joan Bonga with the Robotics Society of Kenya. Yeah, I will be your moderator.
Thank you so much. My name is Fred Service, also from Robotics Society of Kenya. Also be at presenting. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. So I'm Shannon Mojera as well, part of the Robotics Society of Kenya, and I'm an engineer, and I'll be taking you through the session today as well. Thank you.
Welcome. Just proceed.
Okay. So I think we can just begin. And today, for today, we'll be talking about prompt engineering. So I'll be taking you through prompt engineering in generative models, and then we'll be doing more of a practical session. So I think allow me to present my screen. Maybe so it's going to be more conversational as we go through and understand really what is generative AI and how to use different prompts to be able to come up with different outputs. So let me share my screen, just a minute. So let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Okay, we are waiting for it. It has not really appeared. Let's just wait for it, and then I'll be able to let you know if we can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, you are good to go, Mojera.
Okay. Thanks a lot. So basically, I think I can start from the beginning. So what I have opened on my screen is ChatGPT, and I think most of us have heard about it. So it's a large language model application. So by that, what I mean, so I think this comes from AI. So maybe I can just maybe start from the beginning, from what is AI, machine learning, and then maybe to where we are now at ChatGPT and these generative models. So basically, I think for most of us, we've heard about AI. It's been making headlines all over the news, and it's been a common topic, in the different things, especially now, in terms of generative AI. Yeah. So AI basically is a way of trying to simulate human intelligence to machines, right? So machines by nature they do not have the ability to think on their own. So they're not sentient beings as of yet. So what people are trying to do is to make it train and train using data, and then from the data that the machine is trained on, it's able to come up with inferences and outputs that will mimic human intelligence, right? So that is what more like AI is all about, and even machine learning. So machine learning learns from large amounts of data, and it's able to see patterns and different correlations, and then from that, it's able to now come up with a very how do I put it? It's able to come up with an output that inferences the data. Yeah, so you're able to learn from the data. So you train the data, and then the machine is able to learn from the trained data and come up with a favorable output. So, and this actually has very many use cases, and I think for most of us, for example, if you've ever used a chatbot before, let's say in a website or customer support, when you see like a chatbot, you can be able to input either some of your problems or queries that you have, and then the bot will be able to respond to you. So the bot is not really a person behind it, but it's a machine which has been programmed to to read from and learn from the previous data that people have input before, and then it's able to give you an output based on the data, on the inferenced data. So that's like some of the different applications of what machine learning and basically the chatbots, these language models, have been used for. So in that, and also I think another obvious example is this virtual assistant. So if you have used Siri before, if you have an iPhone or Google Assist, So once you're able to, there's always like a listener. So once you're like a listener is that prompt that will activate the virtual assistant. So for example, for Google, you have to say, "Hey Google," or "Hi Siri," so that will awaken. So it's more of the listener that will awaken the virtual assistant, and then it's able to respond to your queries and then give you assistance based on what you've been able to inquire from it, right? So those are two the different applications just of language models and how they're being used in the world today. Um, so coming to this, so that's part of generative AI. So generative AI basically means you're able to generate content from previously trained data, and there are very many big players in this field. So OpenAI is one of them, which is just started recently last year with Microsoft, Google. So they've been working on different models of generative AI. So it branches from a stem of artificial intelligence known as natural language processing. So here, where you're able to deal with languages and different types of so from the language, basically you have to learn about the linguistics, right? So these are the different building blocks of generative AI models because they stem from natural language processing, and you have to have a very good understanding of linguistics. So basically, this is human language, how human beings communicate in terms of context, in terms of how the grammar, the word flow style, and so on and so forth. So with with the natural language processing, you're able to factor in all these things into place and be able to now come up with such applications like ChatGPT. So ChatGPT in the background, there are this so from the large amounts of data, because ChatGPT was trained with very many over thousands and thousands of books, texts, and articles. And then, so from that large set of data, the models are able to learn, as we had said earlier. So that's like the training data. It's able to learn from the data and then pick out patterns and correlations, and then also now come up with the appropriate output. So for this, we're going to have a practical session in terms of giving it prompts, right? So you can see here we have a window. We have a window which is open. So this is my personal ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT 3.5. I think the latest one is 4.0. So this is like a previous version. And for this, you can see this is the tab. So if you're new to it, you'll have to. So if you're new, you basically have to just go to Google, type ChatGPT, then create an account, and then it should take you to once you've signed in, it should take you to a tab like this where you're able to view to view the so this is like the so where you can see my arrow. So this is where like the previous searches that you've been able to do, and then here you have like a new tab where you can be able to input different commands or different prompts that you want to learn and understand, to ask the language model. Okay, so I think as of now, so many people have been able to use ChatGPT for different reasons. So for students, for example, to help them with different assignments, maybe to write an article, to do with proposals. So it can be used across every industry because there's a whole the kind of data it was trained on. It's able to cover a whole scope of data, even in law. It even passed, I think, one of the major legal bar exams. So you can see there's quite an advancement in that area. And then so there's what is called prompt engineering. So for prompt engineers, what they do, so it stems out of now the natural language processing, which is the building block of ChatGPT and all these language models in terms of generative AI. So for the prompt engineers, what they usually do, they usually fit the model in terms of context. So they give prompts, and then they teach the model to be able to now differentiate between different styles, different contexts, and then like to build up conversation and stuff like that. So let's just do a practical example. I think without much theory. So for example, we can give an example of, let's say, what is 8 plus 8, right? So here, of course, we expect the answer to be 16, which is like a standard, which is like a standard mathematical, operation. 8 plus 8 is obviously 16, no matter how, so it's like a standard truth or fact. So then let's look at a different example. If, for example, so something that is out of context, Okay, now let's to build up onto this. For example, because the language model is able to understand once we put this into it, so it's able to store the data, information, and you can be able to build up the conversation from here as before. So you can say, what is what is 5 times the answer, right? So essentially, what you're asking the machine to do is to basically multiply it by 5, right? So the model is able to understand this, the AI model is able to understand this and multiply it by 5, to multiply it by 5 and give you the answer because it stores the previous data, the previous information, and then gives you the answer. So, so you can see 5 times the answer, where the answer is 16, would be 5 times 16, which equals to 80. So you see it's able to keep a record of the previous information that was stored, and then it's able to do an operation on the answer, right? So you can see it's able to store record of previous conversations and give you output of the same. And then now moving on to more contextually, so something more that is more, that is not linear, a bit more dynamic. So for example, if you were to ask it, write for me a poem. No, let's do, for example, let's give a Kenya. Write for me a poem about the greatness of Kenya. Kenya as a country. So for this, you can see this is based on context, right? So it has to say things that are related to Kenya based on the location. So it's going to narrow down the search to things that are related to Kenya and the things that are categorized as great, and then be able to come up with a poem based on the prompt that I've given it, right? So let's see what it will come up with. Uh-huh. Okay, it's quite a long one. It's still generating. Okay, let's see what has been able to come up with. Okay, so we can I can read it out loud. So in the heart of Africa's sun, where the savannas meet the sky, there lies a land of splendor beneath Kilimanjaro high, Kenya, jewel of the east, with grace untold, a tapestry of wonders, a story to be bold. Upon the plains where acacias dance with the breeze, Serengeti's neighbor, home to diverse species, great herds uh, roam freely beneath the Masai Mara's sun, a symphony of life where the wild takes the span. From the Rift Valley's embrace to the Indian Ocean's shore, Kenya's landscape unfolds tales of ancient love. Mount Kenya stands majestic, a sentinel in the mist, guardian of the highlands where dreams and pearls coexist. Nairobi, a city bursting with rhythm and with rhyme, a heartbeat of the nation, a pulse transcending time. In every bustling market, in every smiling face, besides the spirit of Harambee, unity and grace. It's a Kenya oracle of humanity. So this is talking about from Turkana's shore to Lamu's old town, Swahili, the language, the culture. So basically, just by reading through this poem, so you can see the kind of prompts that I gave it. So one, it was very specific to be. So we were looking for something which is a poem. So and like for a poem, it's written in various stanzas. As you can see, this is how many stanzas? This is around 6 stanzas. So and then the format. So these are two parts, and then there's also some form of repetition, and then a word play of words, right? So that's how the structure of a poem is, right? And then it's looking for so the keywords. So remember, I said also before we have to look at things like it's based on things like linguistics, right? So linguistics, now you have to break down the language. So what happens in the background is, like, for example, for such a statement, write a poem for me about the greatness of Kenya. So what will happen in the background is this statement is going to be broken down. So you'll know what, so that the model will know which is there. the word, the verbs. So you see, just like how you have it in English, you're able to break down like right is a verb, poem is a noun, greatness is an adjective, then Kenya is a noun. So the 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 model will be able to break down this statement into the components, right? So it will break it down to different linguistic patterns, so including now grammar, or like what I've mentioned. So it will know which is the word, which is the verb, which is the noun, and then now it will be able to point out the keywords, right? So the keywords is to poem. So the key nouns of this would be poem and Kenya. So these are the main words. So it knows it's going to have to write up a poem about Kenya and specifically about the greatness of Kenya. So anything that has been marked greatness of like so going through all the data that it has been trained on. So something great about Kenya. So you'd see maybe people like in different magazines or just the data it was trained on. So you can tell that most people actually in terms of now the savannah, the Masai Mara is one of like the great key features of Kenya, much as a great key feature of Kenya. Then the Rift Valley, the culture, Swahili, also Nairobi. So those are the things which have been, which people have said, because it's learning from human data already that has been stored and trained. So it's you can tell these are the things that people consider great about Kenya. Yeah. Then the Lake Turkana, the Lamu's old town, and then the Masai. Yeah, so these are the different things you can tell are great about Kenya. So that have already like the data that has been inputted and trained on the model. These are the things that have been mentioned to be great about Kenya. Then that's why it's able to give us a comprehensive poem based on the things that have been given great about Kenya. Yeah. So, and then let's go to let's do the last example. So in terms of something a bit more scientific, let's ask it about, its thought patterns, or maybe something that is non-existent. So for example, let me ask, what would aliens look like, right? So aliens as a topic, it's something that has not been, so it's mostly speculation. So it would base on different articles and people's views actually of aliens, and now let's see what kind of answer it would come up with in this kind of context. Okay. So it says the appearance of hypothetical extraterrestrial life is purely speculative, as we have no, evidence of aliens, right? Scientists and researchers have often explored possibilities based on what we know about life on Earth and conditions that could support life elsewhere. If we consider life forms on other planets, the appearance might be influenced by the environment and by the revolutionary processes unique to those planets. Different factors such as this and that. In science fiction, depictions of aliens vary widely from humanoids formed to completely incomprehensible and bizarre entities. Writers and artists usually creativity. So basically, like you can see for this type of prompt. Yeah, so from this type of prompt, you can be able to tell it's for something that is like more utopian. This is not based on any fact or any known evidence. So it's just picking from. So it's not able to describe it personally, like from its own perspective, but it's giving the perspective of let's say from movies, from scientific research and studies, and then it's able to give you just a whole list based on that. So like from this it can tell you for such context where things are a bit unknown, it will only give you context based on that the because it only learns from known entities, so it's unable to to come up with a totally different image from what it doesn't know. Yeah. So the model has not really been fit on to tell you like an alien looks like this. It has 3 hands, 5 heads, and like that has not been labeled as an alien in the kind of training the data that it was put from. So that makes it very hard, so to say. So for such vague or for such big prompts, like you can see, just like an alien, so it's something that is not well known. For such big prompts, it will not be able to give you such concise data. So it will just give you something that it knows, something rough, maybe from the movies, articles, as we've already mentioned. Yeah. So in short, I think maybe just as we wind up this short session in terms of the prompts, so just to recap, so for the prompts, they have to, as you can see from what we have said, so it highly depends on different forms of linguistic patterns, right? So depending on context, if it's a fact or a fiction, if it's something which is contextual and needs it to explore more. Yeah, so like just how you'd probably, like if someone was to ask me what would happen in Turkey maybe 5-10 hours from now, what would happen to maybe someone that I really don't know. So, I'm unable to give a very concise answer because one, I don't have knowledge of the context, I don't have knowledge, of what is happening within the country and stuff like that. So I'll be unable to give a very precise answer. So even in making different prompts, basically, like from an engineering perspective, you have to make it very concise. So you have to analyze. So in practice of the prompt engineering, you'll have to specify because they are different. So for example, if it's in education or if it's in business, so there's how people will structure the kind of questions. So I can ask the prompt to give me a very good marketing plan, and then it will just highlight for me. So we can just do that last example. Maybe give me a good marketing plan for my business. Yeah, for my business, and then so it will just give you an outline of what a good business plan is about, and then just specify different marketing strategies. So it will just pick from a generic form of a business plan, and it will just highlight the different things. But now, if I was to tell it to give me a marketing plan for my grocery business found in Nairobi, Kenya, right? So yeah, uh-huh. So you can see this is a more concise as compared to the other one. So it's giving me context as to the data. I've compared it. I've input the data, and so it's giving me context in terms of Nairobi and grocery business, right? So unlike the previous prompt, which was more generic, this is more precise and more concise in terms of what the search prompt is supposed to look out for, right? So this one I've specified it's a grocery business based in Nairobi, Kenya. Yeah, so you can see, let's look at something like competitor analysis. Okay, let's look at, like, for example, here when you look at, this is just the generic one, market analysis. It will tell you identify your target market and customer personas, analyze market trends, opportunities, do a SWOT analysis, right? And then when you come back here to the more precise one, you say, so it tells you analyze the target market considering demographics. So this is very specific now to Nairobi, different lifestyles, maybe what people like to eat or what kind of groceries people purchase, purchasing behaviors, then analyzing both competitions, both local grocery stores and supermarkets. So now it's giving you more contextual context in terms of where to be able to do this and to analyze the different competitions, yeah, being the supermarkets and the different grocery stores. Yeah. So, so from this you can learn. We are seeing that in terms of prompting, you have to be very precise in terms of what kind of prompt you're giving the model for it to generate a more concise answer for you, right? So you have to understand the different language context. Yeah. So if you give it a very generic prompt, it will give you a very generic answer. So the more specific you are, the more specific the response will be. Yeah. And I think, as I said, so this is basically all about language, about linguistics, right? Which is the foundation of all natural language processing. So you have to understand the different context in terms of because the machine learns from human language. So it's basically learning human language, how human beings give it context. Like for example, if I say I am dead tired, right? I am dead tired. So it's gonna give me maybe some tips to be active and stuff like that. But it understands, like, by giving this uh, giving this prompt, like I'm dead tired. It's able to understand. It's not like I'm dying, but it's just like a phrase to use that to say that I am extremely tired. Yeah. So it's able to understand the different context of the prompt, right? So when you're doing the prompt, so as the first thing we've said is, now you have to understand whether you're giving it a fact, so like something that doesn't change, if it's 8 plus 8, or 6 times 11, or what color is blood. Those are things that will not change. So that for that, you're expecting like a one word answer, or something that is very concise, which is not something to deliberate on. Yeah. And then if you're looking for something more, contextual, and something more refined in terms of, more description, and more information that you'll need. For example, now the business case example that we did earlier. So remember, you have to be very precise. So if you give it a generic prompt, it will give you a very generic answer. So you have to be very precise in terms of the kind of words you're giving it. So give it context in terms of location, the type, like if like what you said, if it's a grocery business, or if it was a retail business, and etc. So you have to be very precise in terms of giving it contextual data for you to have a very accurate response from the prompt. Then I think the last thing that we have mentioned is in terms of also, this is part of linguistics, called social linguistics, on how human beings use language, right? So as a prompt engineer, you should now be able to tell, contextually what you're trying to mean. So if I am dead tired, it's able to tell you, it's just a phrase to mean like you are really tired and you really want to rest. Yeah. And then it's giving you tips on how best to rest, etc. So it's not, giving you so like, unlike if I had said I am dead. Yeah? So let's see how I am dead. Yeah? To talk to someone. So you see, it's giving the notion on, like, you're very down and stuff like that. So it's able to pick the different context, depending on now on the social linguistics that it has been programmed with. Yeah. And then let's see, I am dying. I am dying. Uh, see, so you see, it gives almost a similar response in terms of such contexts. Yeah. So yeah, that's in short. So you have to really understand the contextual bit of it, on how human beings use language. So you can say one thing, but it means something else, and then you're inferring to a different meaning. So for you, once you're using such tools, you have to be able to understand what type of context the machine will interpret what you're saying, on how the different contexts. So you have to really be on the know on the best contextual language to use. Yeah. And I think I'll be able to share more resources in terms of just giving the machine the right context, so for it to be able to know what you're actually trying to mean. And just maybe to summarize this whole session, so I'll just give a summary of the summary. So we've discussed about, what AI is, the branch of it known as machine learning, and how generative AI comes to being. So generative AI is basically generating new content from previously learned data. So it's a branch of machine learning, and then it stems from natural language processing. And we've talked about linguistics being the major backbone of natural language processing. So understanding the grammar of the language, the context, the social linguistics, how the language is used from different, also geographic or demographic differences. So how it's used in Kenya might be very different from what is used in the USA. So there are all those different different parameters that need to be looked at when you're doing prompt engineering. Yeah, so using such tools such as ChatGPT. Yeah, and then we've also discussed about the key things to look into when you are developing a prompt, right? So we've said you need to look at, so whether it's a fact or a fact where you just expect like a one statement, you're just asking for something which is definite, yeah, a definite response. And then if it's to something that you need more descriptive or something which is more open-ended and open to conversation, you have to be very precise in terms of giving more information on the context, on the description as well. Then the third thing we've said is about understanding context and how language is used in different fields. I can say different fields and different environments. Yeah, so like I am dead tired and or like I'm dead beat. So just understanding how different word plays or different phrases now, because this form phrases would be interpreted by the machine. Yeah, so I think I'll stop there for now and hand it over to you. So unless there are more questions on the chat, I think, yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mojera, for that wonderful presentation. At least we have seen how artificial intelligence is it can work and it's very useful. So at this particular time, when I check on our chat section, we really don't have any comment. So I will just go direct to the next presenter. Yeah, I'll just go back to the next presenter. And our next presenter will be, I guess it should be you, Fred.
No, no, it's Felix. Felix supposed to come in.
Okay. Felix, please.
Felix
It's
and
now your
Florence.
turn. Yeah, just take us through.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Clarice. Thank you, my brother Fred. And thank you, Mujera, for sharing that amazing knowledge. With the background now with AI, I'm just going to, go to the discussion on generative AI for education. And before I do that, I'll just say my names. My name is Felix Malombe. I am a teacher of computer science and mathematics. I also double up as the executive director for SteamLabs Africa, an organization that is seeking to transform education, empower educators, work with learners, and transform education in general. Having said that, I would like to commit to you that in the leadership at SteamLabs Africa, my work revolves around computer science education, partnerships, and generally aspects to do with empowering teachers. So working with teachers, computer science education, and of course now partnerships for the organization, of course providing leadership when it comes to that. It is on that ground that with the question of artificial intelligence in force that I engage various organizations around computer science that someone asked me a question. They asked me, what would you say is the reason? I mean, like, is the place of computer science in the age of artificial intelligence? And my simple word was simple. Right now, the competence-based curriculum as a strand, as an area which they call computer science in grade 7, all the way from grade 1 to grade 6, we do not have a subject as such. It's only introduced at grade 7. But I have monitored that over time for a while. From grade 1 to grade 3, there is a lot of talk about technology integration and digital literacy, but there is no specific subject coined in the name of computer science or computing education. Also, I noted with keen interest that from grade 4 to grade 6, the subject science and technology encapsulates a part of what we call technology or computing education. 2 chapters per level. Mainly in grade 6, we're having one topic on data science, mainly spreadsheets. And the whole discussion is about getting an opportunity for our children to access computer science education. But as you'll find out, what you find out is that as this is happening, the world is moving at a very fast speed. The UK, the US, the UK have introduced a subject called computing, which incorporates computer science education, brings together what we call digital literacy and ICT together to form computing. And at grade 10, they introduced ICT and computer science, which goes all the way to A level. In China, STEAM education is big, and you know the great Asia, a lot to do with that subject is talked about. That is STEAM education and aspects to do with computer science as a subject, even at the lowest levels. So when you go to the western side of the US, then you find computer science has been subject that has been offered as a compulsory subject in close to 47 out of 50 states, and because their education is devolved. And you'll find even as you go to Canada, as you go to Mexico and others, there is a lot of talk about computer science education, Latin American in general. But when it comes to the African context, we find ourselves in a place where we are making the subject an optional subject. And so what you're seeing in our Kenyan curriculum, for example, is the picture that I'm talking about. In grade 7, a subject is introduced, which is offered as an optional subject, and paired with home science, which is another core subject that we actually must think about. And with that, then we find ourselves, give me a minute, just a minute.
Okay, thank you very much. Even as we are waiting for Felix to come back, I will still urge you that if you have any question, please post them on the comment section. We'll be able to tackle them immediately. We are done with this particular presentation. Thank you. Back to you, Felix.
Thank you very much, Clarice, again. Thank you. Yeah, just as I was saying, you'll find that in our Kenyan context, what we are having is a situation where the subject is offered. Okay, I have to move. The subject is offered as what we call an optional subject. And again, like I said, is paired with home science, which is another critical subject where we talk about home matters. But then that is a great stride that we have made there. When you look at the subject, again, we look at the tenets of the subject, the concepts, and what it is that is being offered. Put back to back with what is happening around the world, it sits under a strand we call ICT. And it's like an introduction to computer science. If I was asked, I would say this is a good progress. It is good progress, but there is need now to go on and review what the right definition of computer science is. Otherwise, we might remember the proverbial pig that the blind people met, and they said, I think an elephant is a is a rock, or it's a tail, and such like things. But then, like I was saying, in the context of computer science, which is a subject that I teach, the question was, how does that subject now sit pretty well in the world of AI? And so there is need now to review what we teach in the computer science, and see what it is that we can do in the age of AI, because mathematics, it is just another strand of mathematics or another area that we need to look at. While in those streets of understanding the place of computer science in the age of AI, I meet colleagues and friends of mine drawn from around the world that were discussing about policy and guidance for schools on matters to do with AI. I once asked a few colleagues of mine who are part of computer science teachers if their schools have what we are calling a guidance or a policy. And for me, they told me, sir, don't spend your time talking about that because we don't want to police children with what they do. But I think they did not get it right. I was asking, what is their guidance? How are they guiding the teachers, the students? How is the school leadership positioning itself so that we do not have risks or potential issues with AI? And what I find out later on is that there is not much talk about that. So I started, spanning the world again. And here I meet a team from drawn from code.org, drawn from ISTE. ISTE is International Standards for Technology and Education in the US. I found members from Microbit Foundation. I found people from the Africa Code Week, teams drawn from Computer Science for All, and all the others. And the discussion was, how do we, provide guidance to schools? Something I didn't say is that I work as the education technology advisor for Association of International Schools in Africa. This is close to 90 schools in Africa. And that was a question that I was constantly getting based on what it is that I'm doing with the African context. And so we came together, convened. First, it was an online meeting in May 2023. Of course, after the craze on AI was, taking charge. And what I did is that I started now joining those committees or meetups where I joined what was called the Teach AI collaborative, or what we call a advisory team. The discussion again here being on a possibility of coming up with a guidance for schools. And the question was, do we do a guidance or do we do a policy? In the end, we agreed that a policy is a bit more stringent. And while acceptable use policy for schools sits in every school, like now guiding people on to use the internet and all that, we can not come up with another policy, but rather come up with a guidance. And this guidance was supposed to guide educational leaders and communities to realize the potential benefits of AI and not just the risks as we see them. And so it would also provide ways in which you can address those potential risks. Through the kit, then, you are supposed to, seek the opportunities that are there in transforming education. And the clarion call was, do not ban AI. It is time to teach AI. It's time to teach AI. The guidance here calling for education systems to think through and be thoughtful about what it is that they can provide in order to guide children and educators on safe, effective, and responsible use of artificial intelligence in the classroom. So 3 things come out from this document. 1, we need to be able to guide, guide schools on how they can leverage on this critical, tool that is in our hands today. Number 2, we need to be able to think about what we call organizational learning at a different level, where we see how we can use, we provide guidance on how we can, provide guidance to the organization, so that with this guidance, together with, with this document, together with the organizational learning in various organizations or in schools, we can realize what we call educational transformation. And then thirdly, we would be able to benefit or to realize the benefits and possibly address the risks that come with that. The toolkit, we call it AI Guidance for Schools Toolkit. AI Guidance for Schools Toolkit has 7 principles that guide AI in the classroom. And I'll be listing them down as we continue in this discussion. The first of the 7 principles that will guide educators, education leaders, and teachers as they utilize this critical aspect of educational transformation is the purpose. We are saying you need to use AI to help all students achieve the educational goals. And how do we do that? We purposefully look at what Mujera was speaking about, Shannon. She was speaking about how the generative AI works and how large language models have been documented and brought in the place of, coming up with specific things. So our job is, through the guidance document, is that we should be able to see how this generative AI can be used to, guide and support students' achievement of their goals. It should also be able to ensure that we reduce the digital divide by providing the appropriate access to AI tools. It's not just about using ChatGPT. We are also looking at a possibility of, looking at how do we reduce the digital divide, because chances are that because of this knowledge, we might have challenges. For me, I say what we need to look at when it comes to how we can support our learners is there are three things about AI. There is what Mujera has done, and we call it AI literacy, where you learn how AI works and you start believing that it's not magic. Number two, there is AI learning how to use the AI. Sorry, no, that's what AI literacy is. I'm trying to come to the second one. The second one is learning how to use AI, but to solve problems or to attend to your matters. So it is like using of AI. It's not just learning about AI, it is using the AI. And then finally, it is the ability to use AI, or the ability to create AI, to create the AI platforms. So learners need to be exposed to AI literacy, which is learning about the AI, how to use AI to solve problems, that is like utilization of AI, and finally, how to create AI itself. So we need to be able to ensure that the purpose of this specific tool, that is AI, is to ensure we reduce the digital divide. First of all, by focusing on AI literacy, purposeful AI, and computational AI or computational thinking in AI. Then from there, from that place of understanding the purpose, we come to the second aspect, which is compliance, which is reaffirming the adherence of existing policies. AI is not very new. It has been here with us. It's only that right now we are trying to ensure that the risks do not outweigh the potential benefits. So we need to look at the policies that exist, the UAP, the accessible use policies in schools, the internet policies in the schools, the school internet or the school technology policies, and see how we can ensure that we do not ban the artificial intelligence. So we say rather than ban this technology, which students will still be able to access off campus or using other emails, why can't we just, see how we can guide them? So that is called compliance. Moving on swiftly, we have the third aspect of AI in education. And this is where we are looking at knowledge. Teachers have been the center of knowledge for a very long time. We are the software when it comes to to knowledge about what it is that we are talking about. It's called subject mastery. A teacher does not have subject mastery, cannot be called a teacher. But then we are saying, how do we promote AI literacy among educators so that we support them in understanding how it works and how to use it? How it works, AI literacy, and how to use it. And then from there, how do we now move from that and incorporate that in academic classes such as math and computer science or physics? And when you look at AI literacy, we are looking at where it sits. It's in computer science, we learn about ethics, algorithms, programming, data, network, and all those things. But now with AI, it's standing on its own strand under what we call computational thinking. And it would be something that we actually build on. This guidance document is helping us to understand how we can leverage on various areas of technology and knowledge when it comes to AI literacy. And so we be able to support staff members and students. So number one, I said, is the purpose, ensuring that we do not have more digital divide, rather in promoting inclusivity and accessibility. Number two, I talked about compliance. Instead of banning AI, we are looking at how we can actually use it for good. And so rather than banning it, we are saying we need to conduct an inventory of systems and softwares to understand the current state of AI, ensuring adherence to existing regulatory work based on data security, based on aspects to do with safety data transfer, ownership, and many other things. And then thirdly, I was talking about the other principle, which is knowledge, ensuring that teachers and educators are supported to, utilize this powerful tool in the classroom. And for computer science, I say it is no longer an option. Computer science is foundational. Fourthly, I look at balance. How do we ensure that the benefits are there, are attained? I mean, like we get the benefits and then address the risks that are there. And so we are looking at the AI guide, this document guiding us on how we can look at the two benefits, risks, and how we do what we call risk mitigation. We say we need to, in terms of risk for benefits, for example, AI is giving us personalized content based on the child's requirements. But again, it's also there is issue to do with cheating and plagiarism. But then we can be clear about when and how AI can be used in school, restructure the assignments to evaluate artifact development process and require personal context, original arguments, etc. How do we do that? That is the question to be asking, and that is how the AI guidance document is supporting us with balance, ensuring there is a balance between the risks and the benefits that come with this powerful tool. Moving on, we're looking at integrity. We are also a people of values, and so we're looking at how do we set our exams. Do we just ask for ABCD? Do we ask for explain this, define this? No, we are asking so that we can advance academic integrity. AI also can help us. So we will be able to support educators in adapting assignments and assessments. So you'll actually be able to craft assignments that are not on the lowest part of the Bloom's taxonomy, which is remembering, to the one that now prompts the children to be able to be creative. And so we rethink assignments, clarify what standards are and all could be, and so come up with opportunities that we can support our learners. On the sixth point, I want to talk about agency. With AI and technology in general, the advancements that are happening, it is very possible for us to lose the place of human being. And so it is no longer about, AI coming to replace us. Nobody can replace you, teachers, school leaders, and everyone else around the world. It is about agency, ensuring that we maintain the human decision making when using AI. This document, the AI Guidance for Schools Toolkit, provides you the much needed understanding of agency, the place of critical thinking, creativity, which is innate among the human beings. All right. Then we talk about the last one after agency. I'm talking about the last one, which is evaluation. This document also guides us on how we can evaluate the impacts of AI from time to time on how it is going to keep growing. And there is an active community that is constantly looking into what it is that is happening around the world. The US government 3 weeks ago, through President Biden, released some guidance on AI, but I think they were speaking mostly about the dangers and not the opportunities that sits thereof. The UK has spoken itself. Cambridge has spoken about the same. And that is what we are actually charging, that even in Kenya, we can give a statement about that and also see how we can guide our schools and school leaders on this critical mass that is in our space. And so basically the seven principles that we are looking at in the document is: one, what is the purpose of AI in education? Two, how do we ensure compliance with the existing policies? Number three, how do we promote knowledge of AI in AI literacy, that is knowledge of AI? And then number four, we are looking at a balancing act when it comes to risks and potential benefits, and so realizing risk mitigation. And then number five, we're looking at integrity. How do we ensure that our systems, our teachers, and our students are safeguarded on that? And then number six, looking at agency, ensuring that the human position is not replaced by anything, not like that, but in the way that we ensure that decision-making is still done by men and women. And so you can use this tool, like Miss Mujera was saying, I'm dead tired, and then tells you to do ABCD. If it tells you you drink poison, because it can do that, AI, then there is a problem. So you need to still be able to evaluate that. And that's why digital citizenship is at the heart. Has told you and clarify on that specific aspects. And then finally, that is on agency, and then evaluation, constantly looking at what are the impacts of AI. Please, 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 there is always a need for us to look into a possibility of, staying abreast with all the trends and matters to do with AI. And it's my utmost request that instead of asking, letting every answer that is coming, like when Mujera was doing the prompt, in the prompt engineering, that we get data that is only speaking from the Americas or from cross-cutting continents around the world, but leaving behind Africa. We need to be able to invest in computer science first. I say that with a lot of authority because that's my domain. But also we need to invest in learning what it is that we need to learn on matters to do with AI literacy so that we can contribute in this. I know someone right now who is in India, a lady, a friend of mine, who is actually mining data and paying the ladies in the society who are sharing about their culture. So that when you ask about the African culture or the Indian culture, you get the exact detail from these platforms. So this is my urgent call right now, that first, let's make computer science a compulsory subject from the lowest grade and bring in aspects to do with understanding AI in the side the subject, and not just couple it together with other subjects, or where possible, working on a policy document that guides on how we can support learning of computer science in various parts of the country. Secondly, I feel it is a great time right now as a continent, as a country, for us to develop solutions or to develop strategies and policies that are going to help us, craft a plan for our people so that we are not left behind when it comes to contributing for the industrial revolution. And specifically, I'm talking about AI. How can we put our cultures in AI? I want to see what we'll be able to do with the people from Kisii, the people from Taita Taveta, the people from Kamba. Instead of killing our own cultures, it's time now to create AI and tap into those languages and build something that constantly defines the Africanism or the African values or Pan-Africanism. Inside schools, we must do something. We must do something in these classes. In the school, among the school leaders, the AI guidance for schools toolkit can provide guidance for governments, Ministry of Education, and TSC, for example, in Kenya, Teacher Service Commission, and the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. We must put our hands together so that we can provide guidance on this matter. Let's not pretend that it's not there. It is here with us, and we have guidance. And some of your countrymen, like Fred and I, and among others, have contributed in these documents. We want to contribute to our country. God bless you. Back to you, Fred.
No clarity around. Thank you so much, Spirit, for that energetic and innovative.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Felix, for that elaborate session. And just as the way you have said that you are a computer science teacher, that is very good, because actually we have seen that from, let me be precise, from grade 2 to grade 5, they are being wasted, because you find that this particular computer science is merged with science and technology. So you just find a little bit of portion. And if the policy that you're talking about can be implemented, we will be very, very grateful. And one takeaway that I would want us to take is just as Felix has said, is that even as we are talking about artificial intelligence here, what we should be able to know is that we should concentrate more on the advantages rather than risk, because you find that, as we know, we cannot run away from technology, and technology keep on changing, and it will reach at that particular time whereby we are needed just to go with artificial intelligence. So the earlier, the better. So that is very nice, and thank you for that session. It was very, very informative. So at this particular time, because it's like our time, we're supposed to be stopping at exactly 4. Our time is far much spent. I will hand it over back to Fred. Fred, back to you.
Thank you so much, Faris, and all the presenters who have come, and the moderators, and our viewers there. So what I'm supposed to do is that I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. much has been done. Channel has done the prompting, and Felix has done a wonderful job on the policy. So for me, I think I just have to do the normal way, some a bit of okay, ABC 1 2 3, because we are saying generative AI or AI is a general purpose tool. That's what people should understand, that we're creating AI, and as Felix saying, AI didn't start now, it started in the 1950s at Stanford University, and it has made because of computing power and a lot of data being generated by the internet and other things. So we have reached where we are saying AI is a general purpose tool in the same category as fire, electricity, water, steam. So when we talk about AI, and in particular generative AI, which of course has done some tremendous work, we could say that let's take that, take that aspect that is in the same category as general purpose computer. And we say, so what must I do? Let me, because I've shared the slides, I'll just do a walkthrough to do the slides until I reach the demo. And in that particular, I would also request our two moderators, Clarice, John, and Rosemary Meta, to do some demo for us. Of course, on the two ChatGPT and BAD. Of course, when we reach there, we'll do that from this side. So I'll just go to the slides, and as you can see, sorry, and that is the file, of course. That's the agenda of today. Of course, we have the definition of generative AI, application, and I'm trying to think of right. Yes, the definition of generative AI. Let's just delete, because as much we are talking about, let's talk about the definition of generative AI. And as you can see from the slide, is a type of AI which can create content, which means it's pre-trained. So already it's able to give you any content. It just because some see we talk about right data set, and you say this kind of data also comes from human being. It's made such a way that it is much friendly. And when we talk about identifying patterns and relationships, that is machine learning. That is a subset of AI. You know, AI has a lot of subsets where we have even defining where the device come from. So we can have content creation, data augmentation, personalization. That is much better for the teachers, and of course research and development. And we have examples of AI today, with AI. The one from the, okay, this is the slide. Like for example, we talk about two, we have three. We have three now. That is of course which can create images and videos. We have GPT-3, now we have 4. That will be identified. We have also Skype, and this is from NVD. NVD is famous for making the slides. Oh no, the CPU, the general CPUs, which are called GPU, which are used to train the genetic AI. I think I have to get another slide. So this is a mix up of slides. Let me get the right slides for this. Just slide.
I think we've had a challenge with the net, and I want to believe that We have learned a lot. I am an educator, and I have seen how we can use artificial intelligence, the chat GPT, in carrying out various tasks flawlessly. I am one of the people who are skeptical about it, but I have seen that it is an area that we can take advantage of, and even have productivity in our areas of specialization. And I want to believe, even when you are using the chat GPT to do research, it can guide you on what areas to explore, and it's going to be very easy and not time consuming with regards to using it. I want to thank Shannon very, very much for taking us through what is expected of us. I want to believe that those of us who are still skeptical about creating accounts with the chat GPT, you're going to do that, and you will be amazed at the advantages that you are going to take advantage of. So I want to believe that Fred is back and is going to continue with his presentation. And I'm going to stop there just to allow him to continue with the presentation. Thank you. Fred,
Yeah, thank you.
welcome back.
Thank you so much, Rosie. I'm sorry for the hiccup. I think I picked the wrong slide and said without much ado. And let me just add direct before that. Let's have a comment, just an overview of what the founder of Olga said, that the need of having AI. As you can see, they say that AI, we want to use it for coding, and not the old fashioned way, but we want to use it for coding, teaching, and other needs. So I said, because of the time, these are our presenters today, and I think most of them attended, and I'm so grateful for that. This was our topic today for discussion, and I think it has been done for the engineering and education part. We are Felix working on, and that so we need to play some. Let me see if this one will work out, and we can see the agenda today. And I think I have to go direct to the, because of time, I have to go direct to the demo. And what we want to work is that we want to see how we can start from scratch. Yes, we want to start with the bad, and that's the link up here. So I think you want to, if you have you're able to get at your Google search, that's the what you want to say, what that is the exact thing you want to do. That is the link URL. So you're starting this one. This is another tool from Google, which have the same thing. Of course, they're using this different technologies, but still there is transformer. So that's the link. So you can use that the link which is on the board, and then when you've done that, and then you see or type some prompts, in particular because of us, we're educators, and that's why I was saying that in this year, I'll give that one to Paris to get the URL is there. That's what you chat. You type in your Google search, and then you log in using your email account, and then from there you just give one prompt question. In computer science, there's a lot of, for example, there's a topic in data presentation, which is evaluation. So you can even ask it to do one compliment or two compliments. So you can sample it's just a question of thing. So I'm giving this challenge to Paris to share a screen, and then we will give sign in from. Oh, okay, let me. If it's okay, you can sign in from the URL. You can type it down, you search, and then I can give you that when you share. You share that screen. So I remove my screen and you can share it. And also proceed with the chat GTP. And I think I will do the final one, the image from bin chat, and then we'll be done for the time. So Gladys, are you okay with that? Gladys, are you okay with that? With the link which is there? Then I can move it and to share your screen. Hello.
Send me the link.
The link is on the
Sorry.
screen of it. So I was saying that if you can get that challenge, you type it on your Google search, and then from there you go to the prompts. And then I give you room to share your screen. I can move this one to allow you to add yours. Are you okay with that? That is.
Sorry for that. Due to some challenges, I'm unable to share my screen on my end. So Fred, you'll just proceed with the demo. I think I'll do it next time. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is the new link I'm going to share, and this is from Google Search. I think everybody is aware. So it's okay. You can work from Google Search. Everybody knows this, right? So I'm going just to tap in and paste the URL for bar, or I can search. I can search bar, and it's here on the board. You can see on the drop down menu. So this is the part. This is the URL itself, and I'm going to click it. Yes. You can see it's giving me options to sign in, and I want to sign in here. So I use my link. Let's see this one. It is here. Okay, it was already done. I've already dropped in. So let me just use the one which I dropped in instead of using the first one. So this, if you log in, this is what you get in, and it's giving you options. You can, as if you had seen channel at send in to chat, GTP. So this is almost similar thing. So I'm going to ask it a very simple question uh, to, it's just like a human conversation. Yes. So let's see the prompt, what will happen. think this is one of the famous questions which we have on computer studies, and sometimes students have issues with that. So what I've done, you can see the prompt itself. I've told it to teach a 10-year-old kid on how to solve the two's complement of 65 and 89. So you can see it has given you the steps, and it can work up to the last one. So it can it just if let's say it was a young kid who was not knowing what is this one, and then the main subjects. The bad also accepts Swahili, so I can ask it in Swahili, niweze kwa Swahili. I'm not so good in that. Soma habari ya Kenya leo. You can also understand Swahili. You can see it is accepted even in Swahili. You can even a Swahili teacher can use it. So this is a sample of Swahili. So it also understands. It can even do calculation on Swahili and other languages. So this is one example of that one. And then I can also ChatGPT also ask the same thing. So I did drop in on ChatGPT, but you can simply also before you come here, you can also go to your Google chat, and then you also do it. You sign in ChatGPT with this, and then start. So the same way, it will give you the options, and then you also have this is a ChatGPT, and you can also log in. I think the example, but when you log in, this is the platform for ChatGPT. I think this was done. It was able to accept. It was able to accept the login. But I think Shannon worked on this one, so this is much easier. So I've given an example of bad, which I think is the same one. The main question which can work on that. So this one, those who are coming from, let's say you're coming from scratch, and the last one is the one which is called chat. It's called Bing chat. This is from Microsoft. So this one allows you to create images. You can see the image creators here. So it's the same method. You just click search here and click Bing chat, and then it will show you. It will also show you bank things. So you click it, you just take it direct. This is my account. Of course, it will prompt you to open an account with it, and then it gives you this is the kind of the chart of course is coming here. But what you were interested in was the image creator from directory. So from here you can give it questions from. For example, I told it to create. The prompt was create an image of Kenya, and then I create it. Okay, I think some of my tokens are not so many left. You can see the kind of images it can give you, and I think from that. I think the prompts. I don't know if these people were you able to see the screens?
Yeah, the screen, but the fonts were a little bit smaller, Fred.
Yes.
But
Were you able to see
but
the prompts?
yeah, at least
How?
the information or how
Yes.
the procedure was
Yes.
well taken care of, and I think that is the key thing. So at the end of the day, we should be able to really understand, or we should be able to know how to use that. And just because of time, I think I'll try just to, maybe for those people who are joining us late now, maybe I just try and do a little bit of demonstration on what
Yeah.
Mujera did on how to use the other one. So you just
Yes.
allow me to use my, so that we will be able to see, as much as we talk about the artificial intelligence, we will be able to see the importance of using this particular software, So you just allow me to share my screen. I've already signed in because for the interest of time. Otherwise, the way she took us through on how to sign in and all that, I would have taken you, but now I've managed to sign in. So you'll allow me to share my screen, and then once I share my screen, you will be able to tell me if everything is okay. And maybe I just give an example. I don't know if my screen is popped in on the other end,
It just popped in.
because yeah. So I will just now, maybe sometimes you may find different, just how we can be able to use artificial intelligence for us to be able to just get some answers. And maybe I'll just want to maybe try and just talk about what Fred was talking about. Maybe I'll just want to know more about one's complement or two complements. Or maybe I just write a question, the difference, give two. Just write there, give two differences, maybe between, maybe let me just go another way, maybe impact printers and non-impact printers. Yeah, so once I click on it, it's supposed to be able to be generating for me the answers. So let's see if it will be able to generate for me the answer. Yes, are you able to see on your
Yes.
end?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can be able to see how it really works. And not only that, you can answer any question, even about the first compliment. Maybe you can even, maybe you may have maybe a number like, I have that, you have a number, and then you just ask it to convert for you from one's complement to two complements. The artificial intelligence, and especially the ones that I'm using, the chat GTP, will be able to help you do that. So at the end of the day, we are all agreeing that there are more advantages than drawbacks when we're using when using artificial intelligence. So I think that is all. I just wanted to put it across that actually the objective of today's the objective of today's presentation has been achieved, and we have at least learned two tools that when we want to be able to apply, the one that Fred has just talked about, and the one that Mojera just took us through about the chat GPI. So that is one thing that we should really be able to take advantage of that. And we also be good ambassador in such a way that we will all be talking about the importance of artificial intelligence, because we cannot stop saying that there are those things. Everything has its disadvantages and everything has the advantages. And when the advantages outweighs the disadvantages, will automatically always go for that. So without wasting a lot of time, you'll allow me to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. I don't know. Thank you so much for that. I'm happy that now the data that is so good for you. So I think I don't know if Rosemary can work on this before I wrap up. There's some three things I want to introduce in the wrap up. Rosemary, are you there? Can you give a
Uh,
demo?
yes, Fred, I'm there. And I'm sorry, my network is not so stable. And when you are demonstrating, I was not able to follow. So probably I will do the demonstration the other time. But I followed what Munjera and Clarice have done. And I want to believe that as an educator, I can take advantage of that. And it's going to make my work easy. And what I'm going to do with the presentation you did probably is watch the presentation and try it. so that next time I can be able to do it practically. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much for bringing this conversation on board. And I also want to thank Felix in absentia for telling us about the policies that are being put in place that we can leverage to make education landscape friendly and a reality as well. So I want to believe that I'm going to stop there so that I let you do the wrap up. Over to you,
Thank you.
friend.
Thank you so much. I think we don't have to, those kind of challenges are there, technical challenges, but we are doing this thing for this month until November, until next year. God will arouse us there, November 20, November next year, 2024. So we do this monthly in person and also virtual. So we just do it both ways and we adding more. So actually we'll be even having another training this one. So let me wrap up because there's some other things that I'm supposed to add, and which is of course I think. Let me see if it's able to wrap up. Yes, I think we've done that one. And, let me talk about this case study. Yeah, I think uh, this is the link of what Chris talked about, and I think we have shared it on the slide, so you can take all the presenters. Will make sure that they have shared it on the comment section. So this is the link for Teach AI. Those are courses there, which you can even advise your school and even your district, your county in Kenya. Like this Teach AI principles, they are anchored in the UNESCO framework. So that is one of them. And then you have also experience with AI with Spotify Foundation. This one I also talk about with it later. And then you have also what you call this the ring of Spotify. And then we have also the AI competence framework for schools and teachers. That's from UNESCO. This was the conclusion before I do some one little demo for the that is for Spotify and Google DeepMind. So this is what from ICT saying you can what can ChatGPT can do. Just they have the opportunity to transform the running as educators and then to discover how to strike the proper balance on that. So the last one, let me let me do a bit of let me see like, let me see that I need the file. Last one. Let me see if it can arouse. And then let me see what it is. Yes, it says screen. This is yes. This is what I want to talk about. This from Google, and it will also help us both the runner and teachers. So this is Google DeepMind and the Raspberry Foundation. It's called Experience AI. So you just go the same way. You type on the your Google search, and you get when you get this one here, you see you can explore the rest of here. These are companies, and you can also there's options here. If there's a way you can need to understand AI and machine learning for kids. This you can experience AI lessons there here. You can explore the lessons here. And there's also very important, there's an online course for teachers. This course here. It's called a view on edX. So you can click this link here and it will take you to online course for teachers. So as move from here, I think you take this link here and then we start running from it. This one. And then of course we have there's another experience coming here called the experience AI challenge. And I think that is what we have today. And as I read it on the board, I think that is what we have. So I think I'll give this opportunity back to Gladys to end up the meeting. Thank you so much for attending.
Okay, thank you very much, Fred. And I think the session has been very, very interactive, and we have learned a lot. And more so, we are going to be ambassadors, being that we are teachers, apart from Ojera, who is an engineer. We will be able to share the links, and especially for the online courses that the teachers are supposed to be learning. So when we share that link with our fellow teachers, I believe everything will be very, very okay. So for this particular time, just want to wind it up, and I think I will ask Fred to be able now to stop the live recording. Thank you, Fred.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Yeah.